Nobody ever sat me down and told me the truth about money. Not in school. Not at home. Not anywhere. They taught me how to solve equations, memorize facts, and follow instructions. But they never taught me how money actually works. They never told me that money follows value, courage, and action, not comfort, not safety, and definitely not obedience. And for years, I lived believing that if I just did everything right, money would eventually come. But it didn't. I remember being younger, watching people around me work incredibly hard. My parents, relatives, neighbors, they woke up early, worked long hours, came home exhausted, and repeated the cycle every day. They were good people. Honest people. Hardworking people. But they were always tired, always worried about bills, always saying the same thing, maybe next year will be easier. Next year never came. And I started to wonder why. At first, I thought money was about effort. That the harder you work, the more you earn. That's what everyone says, right? Work hard, stay loyal, and eventually you'll succeed. But then I noticed something that didn't make sense. Some people worked less but earned more. Some people had freedom, time, and options. They weren't necessarily smarter or stronger. They just understood something I didn't. The truth is, money doesn't reward effort. It rewards value. You can work 12 hours a day doing something that creates little value, and you'll stay stuck. Or you can spend 2 hours doing something that creates massive value, and your life can change. This realization hit me slowly, and honestly, it was painful. Because it meant that my problem wasn't effort. My problem was understanding. I remember the first time I tried to do something different. It was uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was doing. I doubted myself constantly. I made mistakes. I felt like an imposter. But I also felt something new, possibility. For the first time, I wasn't just trading time for money. I was building something. And that changed how I saw everything. One of the biggest lies we're told is to play it safe. To avoid risk. To stay secure. But safety has a hidden cost. When you avoid risk, you also avoid growth. When you avoid failure, you also avoid opportunity. The people who build wealth aren't fearless. They're just willing to act despite fear. They understand that uncertainty is part of the process. I once met a man who told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Most people don't fail because they try. They fail because they never start." That sentence stayed with me. Because I realized how many ideas I had ignored. How many opportunities one had avoided. Not because I couldn't do them, but because I was afraid. Here's something nobody tells you: money is deeply connected to psychology. If you believe money is scarce, you'll act cautiously. If you believe money is difficult, you'll avoid opportunities. But if you start seeing money as a tool, as something you can learn, understand, and attract through value, you begin to act differently. Your decisions change. Your behavior changes. And eventually, your results change. Another truth I learned too late is that time is more valuable than money. You can lose money and earn it back. But time is gone forever. Every year you wait, every year you delay learning, trying, and building, you pay a price you can never recover. And most people don't realize this until it's too late. I used to think I needed to be ready before I started. More knowledge. More confidence. More certainty. But readiness is a myth. Nobody feels ready. The people who succeed are simply the ones who start before they feel prepared. They learn as they go. They adapt. They improve. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. There was a moment in my life when I realized something simple but powerful. Nobody was coming to change my situation. Nobody was secretly planning my success. It was my responsibility. And strangely, that realization wasn't depressing, it was freeing. Because it meant I had control. It meant I could decide to act. If I could go back and tell my younger self one thing, it would be this: don't wait. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start small. Learn. Fail. Improve. Because the biggest mistake isn't failure, it's hesitation. Hesitation is silent, invisible, and incredibly expensive. The truth about money isn't complicated, but it's uncomfortable. Money goes to those who act. Those who learn. Those who take responsibility. Those who are willing to step into uncertainty. And once you understand this, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. And you start building. Because in the end, nobody tells you the truth about money. You have to discover it yourself.